Hello, everyone. How full is your brain right now? And how full is your cup right now? You are currently looking at a handful, well, more than one hand, but several of our coaches within Brand Me On Demand. So I cannot wait for you all to hear from these lovely ladies. And we're going to share some tips and tricks and answer some questions that we're all probably wondering about now with all of the great information and how we're going to get it all done, right? Everything sounds great, but now it's time to implement. And here we all are to help give you tips and tricks on how we all do that. So first to introduce, we have Miss Melinda. Melinda is basically our logistics coach, is what I call her, because she does everything from email marketing to blog posting. And Melinda, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, everyone. Oh my gosh, I am so honored to be here. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Marina. And hey, everyone out there in the virtual world. I'm Mel, and I am your Aussie bestie. I am over here all the way in Australia enjoying this amazing summit. I'm actually, just a quick thing, besides what I do here inside of Brand Me On Demand, I'm also a mum of 3 amazing young boys, a wife of 25 years, and I've actually been in and around the business online industry probably not as long as many, probably maybe 10 years, but I've been in this type of industry for over 23 years and absolutely I love it. And I cannot wait for you guys to implement everything that you're learning. Thanks, Brie.
Awesome, Mel. And yes, I can attest to that. Mel is my Aussie bestie. So next, Miss Cindy. Cindy is yes, she's a coach within, but she's really one of our guides, and she guides us to unlocking our potential. Cindy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cindy, and I'm going to be guiding you through your healing process and finding out what's holding you back from doing all these wonderful things that all these other coaches are asking you to do. And because that's one thing I specialize in, and I'm going to help you with that. And then also with my sessions, it's more about self-care too. Because when do you honestly take an hour for yourself without answering the phone or looking up emails or anything? Because when you're in my session, you have all notifications will be off. And because this is your time for you to do some deep healing, unlocking that potential. And so that's what I help everybody with.
Nice. Thank you, Cindy. All right. Next, we have Miss Erin, and Erin is our content queen. She guides us every single week in our content strategy. Erin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. Yes, I am Erin Heberger. I am a wife. I am a crazy double toddler mom to a almost 3-year-old and 4-year-old. Whoa. And yes, I love all things content. I have been in some sort of network marketing, direct sales for over 15 years now. I was actually a 6th grade teacher for 15 years up until 2 years ago when I made my second maternity leave permanent. So now I am home full time with the babes and helping you create all your content.
I love it. Thank you, Erin. And Cynthia. Cynthia is our book club guide. So Cynthia, tell us a little bit about your session and yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Cynthia Corbett, and I'm a corporate girl. I'm also a network marketer. I've been doing this for about 8 years. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I've been married 32 years. And book club is where it's at. I'm telling you, we get in there, we dive into the books, we review, we ask questions. And if you don't get a chance to read it, I'll tell you what you missed.
I love that, especially for those of us who are not the fastest readers. I love that. You'll always fill us in. So good. All right. Miss Sarah. Sarah is our mindset coach, and you might know her from Woo Woo in Action. However, over here, she's a bit more woo woo. Sarah, tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm so excited and honored to be a part of this panel. These are some of the most amazing humans in the world. How are you loving this so far? Like, mind blown. I'm going to guess kind of mind blown. And I actually teach, share, offer my experience, strength, and hope around mindset. So I've been full-time in this profession for 15 years. And when I realized about 8 years ago that I wasn't going to reach my potential and my goals unless I worked like 95% on what was going on in here, I decided to master it, which I haven't, by the way, yet. It's a journey. And my passion was to teach it to others so that they could have better success. And I've been a student of Brand Me on Demand. First, I was a student for like a whole year, and I just learned so much from all the best investment into myself I ever made. And it's been an honor to be one of many incredible coaches for the last almost 2 years now.
And Sarah said mastered. I learned from Sarah that it is continuous learning. And I absolutely love that. All right. So Miss Jen is our how to do reels. She walked me through my very first reel. Go for it, Jen.
Hey, everyone. Oh my gosh, is this fire or is this fire? I'm excited to be here. Thank you to Marina. Thank you to the panel. This is incredible. So I have been in the online space for about like 7 years now. And one of the things that I train on in Brand Me on Demand is reels. So I basically bring you a couple of trending sounds every week and help you like work through them to attract your ideal buyer, your niche, your ideal customer, whatever you call it to you. I'm a mom. I am, all the things. Anyway, I'm going to, that's it. Reels, and we pass it on.
I like that. That's it. Thank you, Jess. Straight from school pickup, where her little man started kid coach, and she is all things marketing. Go for it, Dana.
Hi, everyone. How are you? I feel super blessed to be here amongst all these amazing people and super blessed to, have Marina as a mentor, a friend, and now a counterpart, right? Amongst all these amazing people. Just like Sarah, I also was a student actually at the same time. So we've been coaching alongside each other, different areas for 2 years now. Like Bree said, I am a boy mom. He just came home from kindergarten. But my specialty is it's design. And here in Brand Me on Demand, I am the Canva coach. And as a designer who has been trained for over 25 years and being in the marketing platform for over 5, I like to bring my knowledge and design principles to the graphics and our content in the marketing platform. And what I do in my sessions is not only teach you the ins and outs of Canva, but one of my specialties is taking something from a professional program that, someone you may hire to do your content. And if they're using Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, or any of these fancy programs, I really make it my responsibility to figure out how can you do that in Canva? How can you do it easy in a few steps? So that way you don't have to feel like you're a professional to design and create beautiful things. And what's so amazing about my session, and even though it's so different from everyone else's, is that I really like to focus on if Mel is doing something in particular for her email marketing or blogs, to align what we're learning with her sessions, to align what you're learning in Canva with Erin's sessions or Jen's sessions. So that way they all kind of come together as a unified unit. And so that way this whole entire program at the end of the day, when you finish off with the content creation and then you've cleared your brain with Sarah and wrote your goals down and feeling good after Cindy and relaxing with Cynthia, you feel like you literally have just this amazing umbrella of everything underneath it that we've accomplished together. So thank you, Brie.
Dana, one thing that you just said that really encapsulates what I feel like you do for all of us is that you make things easy. I heard you say that you teach us in an easy way. And that is absolutely the case, because what what is inside your head is not easy for all of us, but you walk us through and make sure it's easy. I love that. Thank you. So in all the introductions, I realized I did not introduce myself. My name is Brianne Gillespie, and I am your productivity coach. And through Marina's guidance over the many years, I am actually a parenting coach. So outside of the Brand Me On Demand world, my marketing is a parenting coach. So I get to be here with all these beautiful parents. So our first question, and then just to reiterate, what we're doing here is how do we keep our posture as busy moms, as busy humans, and build our online business? So Miss Jen, why did you choose online marketing?
Oh, well, I got to be honest. I needed something to do. We moved to an area where we have no family. I had like a 4 and an 8-year-old, 3.5, 8-year-old. At the time we moved, they were younger, but I'm a former nurse. I was a former ICU nurse. I was used to working at a high level. But when we moved to where we moved, my husband's a doctor. He works crazy hours. And like, I just couldn't I didn't have Mom, can you watch my kids while I go into work? I didn't have any help. So I was honestly going crazy. I needed to talk to adult humans during the day. I needed humans. It's what's happening? I needed to talk to people. So I felt like, although I love being a stay-at-home mom, I felt like I was losing my identity a little bit. I didn't like that. I felt like I was getting dumber. If that makes sense. I felt like I wasn't using my brain. And so one of my friends introduced me to an online business. And at first I said no, because everybody says no, right? You're like, no, I don't do that. What? But then I was like, you know what? I was like, I can learn new skills. I can talk to other adult humans, make a little money on the side. And then I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And so I'm so grateful for that one yes, because that one yes led me here with all of you guys. So that's how I ended up in the space.
I can tell you I'm definitely grateful for that one yes, Jen. Your one yes has changed so many lives. Yes. Oh, I love you too. I want to also pose that question to Cindy, because Cindy's business perhaps could traditionally be in person or brick and mortar. So Cindy, what made you choose to take your business online?
So my business, why I choose to do it, because I am so sensitive, because I am an empath, and I think a lot of people are empaths, but they don't realize they are. And because of the work I do, because I tried to do it in person, but I found there was resistance, because what I do is muscle test. Because everything I do is science-based, it's quantum physics, and it's muscle test. But when I was muscle testing people in person, when I was asking the question, I can feel the resistance. It's like, no, I want this answer to be this. So they're going to hold on tighter to their arm and stuff. And it's like, and it was exhausting. So it's like, no, Dr. Bradley Nelson's taught us how to do it on, Zoom. So I'm going to do it that way. So that's how I started that way.
I love that. And especially that it can be exhausting when you try and do all of this in person. That's a perfect way to describe it. Exhausting. All right. So with that of why we started, we're talking about being busy humans, right? Busy moms. And Cindy pointed out, yes, busy nanas. So I'm going to ask for 3 tips that you can give to help a busy human find the time in their busy day. I mean, how many times could I say busy, but find the time to build their business. So I'm going to go to Erin, because she mentioned those 2 little kiddos who keep her busy. Erin, so the 3 tips.
So 3 tips. Oh boy. Yes. How did I know this was going to be my question? So the first thing that I would say is you have to plan ahead. So that's one thing. And in my intro, I totally left this out, but so I'll sneak it right in here. But the biggest thing that I do in my content strategy sessions is that I teach you how to plan your content ahead of time. Gone are the days of spending a whole hour on one post, right? #guilty if that's ever happened to you, because you're not alone. And so that's one of my biggest tips is in general, planning ahead. And so with things like content, you don't want that taking up your entire week, right? You got a ton of other things to do, both for your business and personally. So that's one of the biggest things that I teach you. And then how to, accelerate things, getting more eyes on your content and getting more humans in your inbox. So that would be number one, is to plan ahead as much as you can. So that's both personally and in business. So in your business, you need to have that DMO every single day. You need to know in those pockets of time, what are you doing with them? Because there's nothing worse than being like, okay, I've got 30 minutes. The kids are napping. Okay. I've got a little window here. What can I do? And then being like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? My planner is my bestie, right? Like you have to have your to-do list, have your daily method of operation in check. So that's number one, is just planning ahead. Piggybacking on that, I guess, is number two, is knowing your schedule. So like on Sundays, block out some time to look at your schedule for the week. So whether you're working full time or you're a mom at home or both, you're working and a mom, figure out where can you have those pockets of time. So like I said in the beginning, I was a teacher for 15 years. So I used to work my business, like before I even had kids, I was working my business while I was teaching. And so I would purposely get to school early and have about 30 minutes before my school day technically started. And that's when I would do some of my business work and I would know exactly what I was doing. During my lunch, I could catch up on some messages while I was, eating my lunch if I needed to. And then after the kids went to bed. So I did have my daughter when I was teaching and working a business all at the same time before I was home with them. And so just identifying those pockets of time. So that would be number two, is knowing what time you do have. And then number three, don't be afraid to ask for help, because whether it's talking to your significant other, if you have one, especially if you are a mom or a dad, if you have kids, talking to your significant other, saying like, listen, like it's the last week of the month. I need to be able to do XYZ this month, or I have this big event coming up. I really need some extra help here. Or, if you are somebody who's home with your kids and working a business, who do you know that might come over and watch your kids a couple hours a week or want to come play with your kids? Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a family member, but don't be afraid to ask for help, because people are so willing to help. You just have to ask them. And even the last thing I'll say is, ask if you have older kids. Ask them for help. Like they love to be a part of things. I have my 4-year-old making up little like packs of things. She loves it. So just ask for help, plan ahead, and know your schedule would be my 3 tips.
Those are awesome. And your first tip spoke to me so much, where it's like, if I have 30 minutes to do something, if I haven't planned, I will spend 20 of those minutes trying to figure out what to do. That I am so guilty of that. So that from Erin, who is a very busy mom. Cynthia, do you have any addition to Erin's awesome 3 tips? Because you are a very busy corporate mom. So is there anything else that you want to add to those 3 tips?
Right. So one of the things that I learned, like Erin said, was to definitely plan your calendar, schedule those things out in advance, take that hour a week and actually plan out what your week is going to look like. And then the most important piece of advice I have is stick to your calendar. It's so easy to put it all down and to just forget about it. But I have to remind myself to go back, like, no, you've got something scheduled for now. What is it? Get back on track.
Yes, so good. And inevitably, those things will come up when your day is not going right. It's not going as planned. And that happens, I will venture to say, often. So in those moments of self-doubt, when you've set your calendar and things go awry, how do you maintain confidence and juggle family life and business? And I'm going to take this one to Mel. How do you keep that confidence?
Wow. Okay. So that's a really interesting one, because I think we all have moments that we're high with confidence and then we're low, depending on what's gone on with the day. The kids could have driven you insane. My kids are teenagers. Well, they're actually not, they're young adults now. So they drive me jack crazy every day. So it doesn't get any easier. Let me just keep that one there. I'll keep it. It goes forever. So when you start comparing yourself, thinking, oh, I'll use Marina. Oh, Marina's got her stuff together. Like it never looks like she has. She's being a good mom. She's being a good wife. She's got the business going. Like we compare ourselves. So that's one thing we have to stop doing, because you're not seeing the full journey. You're only seeing a portion of it, particularly online. You only see the bits that they really want you to see. So having that thought, we just got to remind ourselves that's not the full journey. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So you have to have a reality check talk with you and go, you know what? Let me take that, and how can I adapt that to my journey? Pivot that thought process and go, you know what? Well, if they look like they've got their stuff together, I can do that as well. And how can I take that? My second tip would be set your own personal goals. If you don't have your own personal goals, you're going to be wondering what everybody else is doing. If you have goals, you can put your blinkers on and focus directly at those goals and don't look anywhere else. Bring yourself back to those goals. What are your goals? Because my goals are very different to everybody else's goals here on this amazing panel. I can tell you that now. And my last one is just to practice gratitude. Be grateful that you get to be a mum. Be grateful that you get to be a business owner. Be grateful that you get to incorporate this and you've had I'm just going to call it a shitty day. Be grateful that you had a shitty day, because guess what? It's taught you new coping skills, new mechanisms of how to cope with what you need to get done with all that we do. So that would be my 3 tips.
Yes. And that comparison happens to all of us. I would venture to say on our journey, we have all had that comparison. So Sarah, how do you stay focused on your own journey and avoid that comparison trap?
Okay, first of all, I love all these questions and all these answers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go plan my content again. I forgot to do that, right? Oh my gosh, my calendar can sometimes slip off the paper and I put it in here and then I'm in trouble. So I'm telling you guys, for those that are watching, these tips, just these answers to these questions are golden. But how I stay out of the comparison game or out of doubt and fear is I really believe is that how I start my day is the rudder of my day. So I truly, and most of you know, well, you all know this about me, is I have a very strict, and it is my sacred time in the morning. I set myself up for success in my mind in the morning. So I start my day without looking in here. I'm telling you, this is one of the best things I did years and years ago, was to pour into my mind, my heart, my soul before getting into everybody else's business, because it's really not a good way to start your day. So I start with, to piggyback on what Mel said, definitely gratitude. Gratitude is a way to stay out of the comparison game. But that's all fine and dandy in the morning. And many of you probably already have a morning routine and understand that. Where I get tripped up, and I see so many of our students and my team get tripped up, is in the afternoon and the evening, when you've started your day off right for the rudder of your day, but maybe you lost grip of your rudder and you're in doubt, fear, worry, comparison, desperation, all those things. So I like to do something called the gratitude walk. This is just I share many, many tips on my sessions in Brand Me On Demand. This is one really simple one, taking me 1 minute to explain. You set the timer on your phone to buzz you throughout the day, however many times you might need. 1 time, 100 times. It says gratitude walk. You stop wherever you are, unless you're driving. If you can, you stop what you're doing immediately. You set your timer for 1 to 2 minutes and you just get into gratitude. You look around you. Are you still breathing? That's a good start. Grateful for that. You just get back into gratitude, which is the language of the universe, and all things come back into the right vibration, and tickety boo, I'm off and running again until my timer goes off again and reminds me that I need to get back into gratitude. So that was 1 tip, wasn't it? Well, maybe it was 2. I'll stop there.
I love it, Sarah. And Sarah, I was just telling somebody about the gratitude walk the other day. And when I looked around my desk, the thing next to me was JJ's backpack that is now 3 years old. And I'm like, I am so grateful that this backpack has lasted 3 years. So I put that in practice. Thank you, Sarah. I love that. So with us saying that this is something that all of us struggle with, I know many of our attendees all of the people in the summit have also struggled with it. Something else we struggle with is not being expert. I'll use that word, enough, not knowing enough, right, to start your business. I think we've all struggled with that as well. So, Dana, how did you overcome imposter syndrome, and what advice would you give to those feeling stuck?
So it's really funny that you asked me that question, because imposter syndrome, it's something that is very common and normal. But for me, suffering from a mental health condition, it's actually a symptomatic thing as well, with, my ADHD and rejection sensitivity. So it's tenfold when it comes to the imposter syndrome, because not only do I feel like I'm an imposter, but I'm telling myself I'm rejected as well. So it's a double-edged sword. It can lead you into a really dark spiral of negativity. And one thing that I've learned is through, being a student, and then, through many of the mentors that I have here, is when you want something and you're passionate about it, don't let the birds chirping, don't let the noise, and I don't necessarily mean the noise from the outside. I mean the mind noise, the continuation of those thoughts that are trying to trick you out of it. And that's where Sarah's sessions and Bree's sessions are really powerful, because they pull you out of those moments, and then Cindy kind of resetting. And for me, I deal with those things on a daily basis. But from an experience point of view, when it comes to my personal brand and even my marketing business, because my personal brand is design and my marketing business is marketing, it's be 100% who you are and authentic, and show up imperfect. And the reason why I say that is because it's easier to follow through and continue that path of being your imperfect self than it is to try to strive to be perfect. And it takes so much more work to try to be perfect. And when you start to actually say, it's okay, I fumbled, I failed, I fell, it's okay, just get right back up. And I think that's something I do with me when building my personal business and online marketing. I am a true believer of pressing forward with perseverance, no matter how hard it is. And, I really, in the back of my mind, every time I'm like, I don't want to do this, I want to give up, And even if I'm just making the slightest transition, I always refer back, because it's kind of funny to me. I love Bill Murray. It's like that movie, What About Bob, right? And it's like baby steps, baby steps. And it took him how long to just walk out to the dock to go to the boat, because he just wanted to go on a boat. And it took him all day to get there. But he got there. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. Just go slow, because the reward at the end is so much greater and grand, that all of that you had to put forth with that perseverance, it kind of just dissipates. So the imposter syndrome, shut it out. Talk to yourself, mirror talk if you have to, with positive affirmations, and just keep reminding yourself how great you are, because we all are great in our own right, and our story, my story, is not the same as anyone else's.
I love that. And mirror work, that's another thing Sarah teaches us too. And I love that, Dana, to use that in pairing with the imposter syndrome. And I want to take it to Mel real quick on this same question, though, because as somebody who we all go to when we have questions, it's interesting that I imagine even the person who knows it all has imposter syndrome. So Mel, how do you overcome that?
Thank you that I'm the go-to person. I don't know everything, but I do my best to find the answers for everybody. So for me, imposter syndrome, this is something that I've probably suffered with. I don't have any medical conditions. And I think that that's something that we all need to realize. You don't have to have anything wrong with you to suffer with imposter syndrome. It's just something that we get because we're doubting our own abilities and our own skills. And all of these amazing ladies know how to do so many things, but they just need somebody just to give them that hey, go here and have a look for that information, or did you look here? It's something that we have to deal with personally because we're all very different on how we journey through that particular thing. And I think one of the common things that you're hearing here from this amazing panel is that we're all on our own individual journeys. And that's what I really think, that as a mum, as somebody who's got a business, don't think that you're failing because things aren't going as well as somebody else. And that's part of imposter syndrome, is because you're doing that comparison. So imposter and comparison go together in my personal view, because when you compare, you start doing that imposter syndrome, like, I'm not good enough to do this, I can't do this. Of course we can all do this. And it's about, again, I'm going to say, go back to my 3 tips. Bring yourself back into, why are you doing this? What are your goals? Who are you doing this for? And this might upset the apple cart, but many a time I've said this, and that's why I'm saying I'm going to upset the apple cart, is that you're not doing this for your kids. You're not doing this for your husband. You're doing this for you. And I think when you come back to that reality, that imposter syndrome disappears. Okay. What you do can assist everybody else in your life, but you're initially doing this for you. And when you get to that reason of why you're doing this, it helps with that imposter syndrome. So it was a little bit of a roundabout answer, because there is no direct answer of how to fix imposter syndrome. It's about listening to all of the things that these amazing mums and everybody else here at this summit are sharing, and know and believe in yourself that you can do this on your journey, on your terms, on your way.
Mel, I love that. And you touched on what in our session we call intention sessions. And Sarah taught it to us with 7 layers deep. And that's exactly right. When we get to why we do what we do for ourselves and not for anybody else, you're right. That has a great impact on imposter syndrome. I love that. Well, with that, we talk about imposter syndrome and all the things that we need to do as busy professional or busy business owners. And burnout is real, right? Burnout is real. So especially for us trying to do it all. So how do you, Cindy, recognize the signs and prevent burnout while still pushing forward in your business?
Oh my goodness, burnout. It is real, let me tell you. Because my journey for burnout is that trust yourself. Go within yourself and trust yourself. If you're starting to feel burnout, trust that and find different things, because everybody's going to be different. Find different things that can help you not to be burnt out, because I was burnt out and it hindered my physical abilities and everything. So I've been doing on a healing journey this past year because of burnout. And I think I know quite a few other women that have been through it. So you really need to find support. Notice the signs that you have, and also really tune into yourself. Should I be taking this client? Because you know what? You don't have to take every client. You don't need to take every client. We're not here to help everyone. We're here to help the right person that comes to us, right? But you got to feel into that and trust that. Because when you say no to one person, and the right person is going to come to you. So just know that. For me, self-care to help me for burnout now, because I had to set boundaries, right? Because it's like, especially with family, that's hard, right? It's setting boundaries with them, because that's how I got burnt out, was with trying to work, helping my family with babysitting grandkids and all of these things, and running my own business. So you got to make sure you set boundaries and do that self-care. I love what Sarah says in the morning. Morning time is so important to me. And I love quietness. I love quiet. I love my time in the morning. I spend, a couple hours in the morning just to prepare myself for the day. Then in the afternoon, I check in with myself, see how I'm feeling, what emotions are coming up with me. And you know what? If I need to take a nap, I'm taking a nap. Even when I was watching my grandkids, 40 hours a week and helping my daughter and all of that, when they took a nap, I was taking a nap too. So take care of yourself. That's the biggest thing that I find. So thank you.
I love that. It's like when you first have a baby and they say, when the baby naps, you nap, right? We need to do the same. We need to take care of ourselves. So on that topic of self-care, so time is so precious to all of us. So we talked about naps being one thing, but how do you prioritize your business tasks without sacrificing your self-care tasks? I'm going to call them tasks, but they're wonderful things. They're not tasks. I'm going to go to Cynthia because she is another master self-care guru.
Thanks, Brianne. So one of the things that I like to do is practice small pieces of self-care. I know if I can't get like an hour to myself first thing in the morning, what I try to do is sprinkle it throughout the day. And I realize that maybe listening to a favorite song is a form of self-care, or going for a walk, or reading a favorite passage, phoning a friend. There's so many things we can do. Practice gratitude, just little blips that we can do throughout our day to get that self-care in if we can't get a big chunk of time. And it helps relieve all the stress from being such busy entrepreneurs.
I love that. We have a playlist. Miss Sarah initiated this over a year ago. We play it loud and we dance our butts off in our Brand Me On Demand group. And it lifts that mood, even if it's just a 3-minute song. Yes. Okay. So we've talked a lot about self-care. We've talked a lot about mental health. And so I have one last important question. I might do 2 quick ones. I'm actually going to ask Jen one because I don't want to miss this opportunity to ask Jen about consistency, because one other thing that we suffer with, at least I do, is consistency. So real quick, Jen, we said we're not going to use the word master, but you are a master at this. How do you stay consistent? What's a good tip for us?
Well, I appreciate that compliment. I need to get back a little bit more consistent coming off summer. So everything everybody already said, plan it out. And so it's not just planning it out, but being specific in the time block with what you're doing. So don't just say like work my business, say what you're specifically going to do for your business. Like I'm going to do reach outs in this time block. I'm going to do content creation in this time block. And then like Cynthia said earlier, when you sit down and it's that time, you need to do that task. So you're not sitting there wondering what you're supposed to do during that time. Also, I built in a CEO day. For me, that's Mondays, where I plan my week. I don't do coaching. I plan my week. And then I have a built-in catch-up day. For me, that's Thursdays. So like if anything's going to fall off, like I have another day, like Friday, like to still like get myself together. So I built in that buffer for me over the last year, and that's really helped me a lot. So that's my quick answer.
That's awesome. That CEO day and the catch-up day is key. Yes. Okay. Back to that last question. See, I knew that was going to be important. I'm going to go back to Sarah because she said that 95% is up here of how to become successful is up here. So Sarah, while you're building your business, do you run into days where anxiety or depression come up for you? And if so, how do you get around it?
I sure do. Oh yeah, I do. Should have seen me 2 days ago. So it's going to be the same answer on this. If I'm starting my day with my mindset and I'm stopping in the middle of the day to check back in with myself, like Cindy said, and checking in with myself at the end of the day and doing more positivity before my head hits the pillow, I'm guarding myself not from anxiety or depression, or like for me, I would say doubt, fear, anxiety. I feel it in my chest. I've trained myself to feel the feeling, but the thought comes before the feeling. So it means if I feel anxiety in my chest, it means I have been thinking about something other than my passion and my purpose and my mission and my wish fulfilled. I've been off track with my thinking. And then my body gives me a little signal, woohoo, and it clenches me right here. For some of you, it might be in your throat. It might be in your tummy. It might be in your armpits, a little wet. Like, what is the sign that your body tells you that you've slipped off track of your main purpose? And so for me, I've had to practice. This has not been easy for me. It's been the hardest work I've ever done and will continue to do, by the way, because I just mentioned the other day, right, where I went all day not noticing this here until the end of the day when my shoulders were way up here. And I noticed that I was breathing from here to here, not through my whole body. And I thought, how did the whole day go like that? Because I'm human. But I've put enough practice and time in to catch it either within 2 seconds, you guys, or at the end of the day. And so my purpose and my passion has to lead me. I have to be pulled forward every single day, or I'm not consistent and I am in doubt and I'm off track, because that's just how I am. And I'm in comparison and all that stuff. So it starts with here in the beginning of my day, in the middle of the day, and the end of the day. And when I fall off track, it's not about falling off track, because I know I'm going to forever. I know that. It's about how quickly do I bounce back up from the ditch that I've fallen in, and from the gutter thinking and the doubt and the fear and the worry, and how quickly do I bounce back up, dust myself off, and get back to it and just go, meh, and see it as a great lesson to learn and an ability to share with others that I'm not perfect too, right? That I can say, I just had this the other day. And so it really is being pulled by my passion and sticking to the little things that keep my thinking in the right place versus my thinking in the stinking place.
You're right. The answers are likely the same, whether it is anxiety or depression or comparison, right? Because they all go hand in hand. And so same question, because like I said, each one of us has a different form of this. So how do you get around it? How do you get around when you're starting to feel anxious or you're starting to feel depressed or any of that naturally comes along with business? How do you get around?
So for me, this week is a great time for you to ask me that, because both of my kiddos are in preschool for the very first time, which has turned me into mama chauffeur. And I know there's lots of moms who do that, but for me, this is the first time that I'm like dropping a kid off here, and then 30 minutes later, this kid has to be here, and then an hour later, I've got to pick up this kid. So I've spent the last 2 weeks in like, how am I going to get all the things done? And actually, a super wise mentor of mine reminded me that everything is figure outable. And so what I do when I get into these situations is I'm like, okay, I know that this is something I just have to live it. And so this has been the week where the kiddos are back in school. And like, yeah, Monday was a little bit all over the place. But by now, I'm like, okay, I've done this. We've got pretty much the first week under our belt. And I know as the rest of this month goes on, it's going to be fine. So for me, it's like making myself literally stop and saying, like, okay, I've been in a situation before where I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. But it always happens. It always gets done one way or another, because like I said, everything is figure outable. So whether it's you need to sit down and make a list, whether you need to sit down and like I will do the mirror work and say the affirmations, like I kind of double down on all things that I've learned from Sarah Lovely, but just doing it. Like it's the fear of what's going to happen is so much worse than what's actually happening. So that's me, is you just have to do, make a list, get that calendar going and make it happen.
I love that. Figure outable. That's a big word. But we also mentioned Dana, who literally picked up her kiddo from the first day of school and made it here on time. So she is a master figure outer. I made up another word. Dana, how do you get around it?
I'll be completely honest with you and 100% transparent with every single one of you here that are watching today. I am the worst at time management, and I am the worst when it comes to the figure outing as far as Erin's process or most people's process. I'm a very quick-witted, like on point, like thinker, but figuring it out for like say 2-3 steps ahead, I just can't do it because my brain goes 20 steps ahead. So that just is way too hard for me to do. I'll be honest with you. So time management and that whole aspect is really hard for me. But, you know, for me, there's a couple things that I put into play in my life to figure it out. And one of them is not only professional help, but I mean like therapy, to learn tools that work best for me. But I really rely on the people that know better than me, or that know me so well that when I ask a question to them, even though I know the answer of how to do something, my brain just kind of does this like cloudiness. And so I just need someone to remind me so that way I can figure it out, right? It's like, you know, you're poking the bear. You just got to get that little bit of a push. And I know most people, they they don't like to be pushed, but for me, that's necessary. And I actually ask for it and I encourage it from my friends and people that I can trust, not just everybody, but only people I can trust. Another thing, I don't know if you've seen like during this panel, like I don't sit still. So like I'm very fidgety and my anxiety's through the roof, which is probably why I'm talking a lot faster right now. I just breathe. I got to tell myself to breathe, and my figuring out, I just got to give myself grace. And that's really my answer, is breathing, giving myself grace, and asking your support system when you can't figure it out.
That is a perfect way to end. Ask for help and breathe. Right? I could stay on, and I'm sure you each one will soon and have some, just talking about the questions that we have, what make us tick and what tips and tricks we have. But we, of course, are going to move on to the next section. And I want to thank all of you ladies, one, for your patience with the internet today. So thank you. But also thank you for sharing your insight and everything that you have learned along this journey. You were always so generous with your knowledge and your time. And we love you. Thank you, ladies. And thank you, Marina, for having us. Bye.